Hello, Justin here and welcome to another video. This is the first time that we are shooting a video with my wide angle camera, so it's gonna look a little different, it's gonna sound a bit different, but I think we'll manage somehow. Today we're gonna be talking about picks, pick selection, and why are picks important for a guitar player. Unless you're Mark Knopfler, who uses his fingers to play, more than 99% of us use picks to play the guitar. And if you, in case you need a picture as to what a pick looks like, this is a pick. Another one over here. How you attack the string and how much force is going to be transmitted to the string is going to be dependent on the pick. So to make this video as succinct as possible, I'm going to talk about three things that will affect your pick selection. First, it's going to be the size of your pick, the shape of your pick, and the material of your pick. And I'm going to switch us over to Handycam mode and we can get started. Okay, first thing I want to talk about is the shape of the pick. And more than 90% of picks are going to be looking like this. This is a, you hear some terms that people use, this is a teardrop design. When you use a right hand to play or use a hand to play, right, and this basically covers most of your thumb when you play. And that gives you, the basic teardrop design will give you a bit more body between, from the end of your thumb to the end of the tip of the pick. It's going to be a fair bit of material. Now this is really good for strumming, I think, because the more pick body that you have protruding from the end of your thumb to play the when you strike the strings, that's going to give a more pronounced, it's going to be a more pronounced attack. Now, a more pronounced attack doesn't mean that it's going to be louder. It just means that you're going to be able to dig into the string deeper. And this is really cool for acoustic guitars, especially when you have a thinner pick, right? You're going to get a very nice jangly sound when you use this sort of pick to play, which leads us to the thickness of the pick. Now, for pick thickness, the tongue twister, pick thickness, it has a whole range of numbers that you can use, and they're normally in millimeters, I think. So if you look at my Jim Dunlop over here, it's a 0.96 millimeter pick, and this is considered a medium pick for an acoustic guitar, and you can see why it's medium because I find it difficult to press the pick. And on a lighter gauge pick, this is going to be a lot easier to bend around my thumb. Like for instance, if I had to take my metal pick, I can't, it's impossible to bend it. So in general, the thinner the pick, the less energy you're going to transfer to the strings, and therefore if you're a really heavy strummer and you want that, that dynamic of heavy strumming, but you don't want to break the strings, a thin pick is going to save your strings. I mean, number one, it's going to save your strings, and number two, it's going to give you a very nice open tone when you play. In the opposite end of the spectrum, I have a bass pick here, and this is 3 millimeters. I mean, you can see that is really thick. I mean, okay, I mentioned it's a bass pick, but Yngwie Malmsteen plays with a 3 millimeter pick, and this is because at that kind of tempo that he's playing at, and the kind of like speed licks that he's playing at, you don't want the pick to be warping around your fingers. And in the words of Michelangelo, if you use a thin pick and you shred on a thin pick, I mean, it literally melts around your fingers, so you don't want to do that. It's some interesting shapes and sizes with some picks. This is an all-in-one pick. I mean, it's a Singaporean invention. Woohoo, Singapore! But it's really cool because with one pick, you got 3 different edges, and you can't really see on the video here, but the geometry of every edge is slightly different, and because there's a depression in the pick, it allows you to hold the pick closer to your finger, and this helps to give, it makes it easier to do pinch harmonics and to really, for rhythm guitar parts, especially when you're digging into the string and you want to do a very strong palm mute, this is really helpful. I want to make special mention of my favorite pick, which is the Jazz 3. And this is a very tiny pick. I mean, like, I have to buy these in bulk because I lose an average of 2 per gig. And when you hold the Jazz 3, you can see that there's a very little pick protruding from the end of the thumb, and this means that you gotta keep your hands very close to the bridge when you play. This helps because I'm a light picker. It's a lot easier to pick passages using a shorter pick, I think, because as you're doing string skipping, as you're gliding over the strings, you don't want let's say if you're gliding over strings with this kind of pick, you're gonna knock into the strings somewhat. So this is really good for solo guitar players, I feel. This is a finger pick, and sorry, excuse me, this is a thumb pick. I find that when you use this kind of pick to play, there's less stress on your wrist, and you may find it a bit queer that I mentioned this, but I have a torn wrist, and I find it really difficult to play sometimes. And sometimes to alleviate the pain, I would switch over to a thumb pick just to use the thumb a bit more, just so that I don't have to exert too much force on my wrist. So, special tip for those of us who have injured or torn ligaments in our wrists. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about with picks is pick material. I think material is important because it affects the pick density. If you think about it logically, the denser the pick, the sharper the attack is going to be on the guitar, because it's gonna like eat into the string. It's gonna bite into the string a bit more strongly than the other picks. Now let me just, I'll show it to you to prove my point. This is a plastic pick, right? Drop it on the table and you get this kind of plastic sound. This pick, I think it's a metal composite. I'm not sure, but it's an Ibanez pick, and well, okay, I'll drop the plastic pick again to let you hear the sound. Take this pick, and I'll do it again just in case you didn't hear that the first time around, but you take my Ibanez pick and you get that sound. That tells you that well, I don't know how much percentage of metal there is in this pick, but it makes for a sharper attack, I think. And if you're the type of player who really wants those high frequencies to jump out, or if you want to dig really deep into your strings and get that, you know, country spank, or that maybe sometimes you want to get a funk shimmer, these kinds of picks are really cool. Metal composites, or I don't think they make fully metal picks, because I think if a pick is fully metallic, it's gonna eat away your string, and that's not good for the string and the pick. I hope you found this short video on pick selection helpful and informative. If you have any questions, comments, raves, or rants, please post them in the comment box and I'll get back to you. This is Justin signing off.